Hi there, Dr. Gary here on the road. We sell dental practices nationwide. We are dental practice brokers. I was a dentist for 25 years, now doing the brokerage for 16 years. Today's topic is when buying a dental practice with real estate, the appraisal fee is agreed to about 95% of the time. I'll call that the bank appraisal fee, which is done by a third-party individual the bank hires. So we'll call that the bank third-party appraisal fee. Anyway, we'll get into that. Before we do, as you know, we now have 10 employees. We're in 25 states, and we work every day except Christmas and Easter. So we're here to help you out anytime you need us. Give us a call, 201-663-0935, or dentalpracticeguide.com or nationwidedentalpracticebrokers.com. Just give us a call. We'll talk to you. Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purpose. It's not legal advice or business advice. It is really sunny. Excuse me, got to put the glasses on there. All right, we got them on. I think I look younger with these, huh? I'm just kidding. So, give us a ring. Now, if you have a larger practice, grossing $1 million plus and 5 operatories or more, call us because you may be a candidate for the DSOs to purchase. They pay top dollar, but you got to be able to stay and work a little bit longer, 3 to 5 years. It's a lot. They don't give you all the money up front, but they do pay a lot. So it's something to consider. But they'll often pay our commission, so it makes it easier for you. And we know who the best ones are. Some of them are going through hard times now. One big one, 300 offices went under. Bank took them back. So there are some problems out there. But they'll often pay our commission. Secondly, we are representing you and the practice is being sold for over $1 million and it closes for over $1 million, successfully closes. Based on some minor criteria like using a qualified dental attorney, we will often reimburse your legal fees upon the successful sale. So call us, we can talk about it. Okay? Now, getting back to this, you got to understand you're buying a dental practice with real estate. Real estate itself, it does come to a pretty clear number because they often base it on square footage. Remember, you can have a beautiful office inside, but the appraisal fee is really based on square footage. What's the square footage something else is sold for in the region? That is what your real estate value is. 4 walls and everything inside the walls, all the dental equipment, all the supplies, all the equipment, all that goes along with the dental office itself, the value of a dental office. So be aware of that, okay? But that's really, really important for you to understand that. It's just, and then they get these independent appraisers. Now what happens is the bank hires an independent appraiser. It used to be bank appraisers, now it's an independent that the bank hires. And you don't have a lot of negotiation on that. They passed that law several years ago, and the banks had to form in line, step in line. They couldn't use their own appraisers anymore because sometimes you get these bogus, inflated appraisers. So they want a third-party outside appraiser, and they will appraise your property based on comparable sales of other practices or properties that is sold in your general area. And that's where they come up with the numbers. Now, when the bank appraiser comes up with their numbers, generally, in about 90-95% of the time, the buyer and the seller agree to that appraisal. Usually the buyer has to come up a little bit to the appraisal or stay steady, whatever, to what the offer. Because don't forget, the buyer put an offer in before the appraisal was done. And they'll often do that because they'll get some ideas from banks and so forth, and get a look at their own appraisal so they have a pulse on what to offer for the practice. And if the seller's too high and the buyer agrees to a higher price, they may want to negotiate a little bit. But at the same time, that is pretty much a standard rule if the practice is appraised by a third-party real estate appraisal. Generally, they stick. All parties, buyer and seller, generally stick with that appraisal. So that's something to be aware of. Okay? They generally stick with it, and it works out well. The times, if you want to dispute it as a seller, you can dispute it. But you're going to have to pay for your own commercial, $2,000-$3,000 for your own commercial appraisal. But it doesn't mean the bank's going to approve your appraiser. So you got to get the appraiser approved. There's kind of a steps to this. It takes a little while. So just trying to make you aware of that when it comes to the real estate. So get your numbers in order and talk to a lot of people before you start renting, before you start, purchasing real estate. We work with one that's a separate entity. In other words, it's a separate contract. We're not involved in that contract, but we help you. We know the brokers and so forth out there. But you want to get to the point where that is, you get a good feel for the real estate. So when the appraiser comes up, if the appraiser is really wrong, you can always dispute it. You get your own appraisal, which is possible, but the bank has to approve of your appraisal. They have to approve of it. So it's not that easy to do. It can be done, but they have to have a sharp guy that they respect, and they can take care of that. But it is it's important. But the theme is when the bank third-party appraisal comes up with the appraisal, the buyer and the seller should agree to that number, because they're usually right. They could be wrong, but they're usually right. And we have several situations like that, where the seller thinks it's worth more money, the buyer thinks it's worth, and then the appraiser comes in and tries to straighten everybody out. Then the seller will say to you, well, I'll rent the office to him. I'm not going to sell it to him for that price. Now, the buyer may not want to buy it because he really wants real estate. So it works a couple of different ways. But that's what our experience is with. We just wanted to walk you through that. And there's other factors when it comes to this real estate. Maybe is there some value to the doctor staying on and mentoring? That could be a monetary value, or give him the money he wants in the real estate, that type of thing. All right? So, if you like that one, hit the subscribe button, and we will be happy to get you more of these stories. We got a bunch more stories for you. I just did like 5 testimonial YouTube videos on buying and selling a dental office. But these are some of the complications you run into that I try to identify for the buyer when purchasing a dental office. All right, thank you for listening, team. Talk to you soon. Thanks, bye.